All right. So first thing you're going to want, of course, is to find the emulator. So you're going to want Dolphin emulator here. So see that right there. Grab it. This is the official website, dolphinemu.org. So you'll want that. Just grab whatever the latest version is. Usually, they don't really do stable releases, so the bleeding edge is usually what you want. So grab whatever the version is for your system. Typically, I expect there'll be Windows for most of you. And once you get that going, obviously I'm not going to go into all the little details, but that's what you're going to want here. So go ahead, get that downloaded, open it up, and once you do, the next thing you're going to want is the game itself. Now, OBS doesn't really play nicely with Dolphin's menu, it seems, so not going to be able to show it to you directly, but what I can do is just take some screenshots and show them to you there. But the next thing you're going to need is to grab the game itself. Now, I can't tell you how to grab the game. I'm just going to put a little something up here. So pay no mind to this image here. It's just a nice little backdrop. Pay no attention to Patchy. But I can't tell you how to get this game. I can't tell you where to look for this game. Obviously, you have to look for it on eBay or some other place where you can get an official source. Yeah, so that's about all the information I can give you, but I know you're smart chatters. You'll find it. You'll figure it out. So, yeah, so get yourself a copy of the game. Now, the most important thing, though, is you need to make sure that you get the American version of the game. So, I'll actually show you on the Dolphin Wiki if I can find it. So let's look for Spider-Man 2. Hey, Twice Smart, what's up, buddy? Yeah, so you don't even have to look for bays. It's actually very easy to find it, but like I said, I can't tell you how. Uh, but yeah, you need to make sure you have the North American version of the game here. So if you go on the Dolphin Wiki, it has a lot of the information you'll need. Um, so what you'll want is the North American version here, and it'll show you these game IDs. The one you want is this one, GK2E52. That is the North American version. So when you open up the game, oh, okay, takes you to the same page. But the reason you want North American is because that's the version that all the fixes are created for. So these are the fixes I'm talking about, generally. And these are really only for the North American version. They were never ported over to the other regions' versions. So when you find yourself the game, make sure it's the North American version. And when you open it up in Dolphin, you'll see this code. Most likely, you'll see if you right click on the game and just hit properties, it'll be like right at the top of the window. You'll see it. It'll just say the name of the game and then, that code right there, ideally GK2E52. So as long as it matches that, that's how you'll know you have the right version of the game. So next up, what you're going to do is you're going to set up the... These are probably the most important things here. You're going to set up the 60 FPS code, and you may want to use the freeze timers code as well. And then you'll want to use the widescreen fix. So the way this works is, let's see if I can find... Let me see if I can find a screenshot of action replay codes. Or, maybe I'll just take a screenshot and show you. So when you right-click the game and hit Properties, you will see some... In the Properties window, you'll see a few things that pop up. What you want is to go to the tab that says AR codes. And let me... Windows does not make it easy to paste a screenshot. Sec here. Go. All right, now I can show you. So you'll get a screenshot. Sorry, you'll get a window, something like this, and then you click AR codes, and you'll see these codes. You're not gonna have all of them, of course, but what you can do is click that little Add New Code button, and then it'll just give you the options. Give the name, call it 60 FPS, whatever you want, and then put this code in. The other way to do it, though, and this is the way I tend to do everything, is to go into the config settings. So this will be in the game config tab under editor. And let's make another screenshot here. And so let's pop in. So you can see here, if you go into the game config tab and you go to editor, you will see you'll see two sets of configs here. So the one that you want is the one at the bottom, the user config. And I'll show you more of the user config in a minute. But what you want to do is go in that user config and you'll just paste the code into a particular section in there. Now let me see if I can show you the config. It should be pretty easy to do. File here. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Well, okay, let me just copy and paste it then. There you go. All right, so you'll get a config file. And so it'll just look like this. All you have to do is find the section that says action replay. If you don't have it, just make it. It's just action replay in square brackets. And all you have to do is take that code right here, 60 FPS, and paste it in down here. So I don't see it in here. Oh, it must be. Ah, okay. So this, I see what happened. So actually, it seems like what's happened is Dolphin. I've just had this for so long, I didn't even realize it. What's happened is that Dolphin has actually included it in the default config. So what should actually happen is that screenshot I showed you earlier. You should actually see these two codes, and these are the important ones. You should see them in there right off the bat, which is perfect. So all you need to do is just tick these two boxes when you go in here in AR codes, enable them, and then the game should run fine. And I am proud to say that the 60 FPS code is actually my own work. So, yeah, Twice Dolphin is really a nice emulator. I can't think of a better emulator project, to be honest. It is just such an incredible project. I would say it's like the pinnacle of emulators. So, yeah, so I'm actually proud to say I made this code, the 60 FPS code. Originally, the code was, I think, just this one line here. So that was the original 60 FPS code. The problem with that is that it would also cause the cutscenes, like the pre-rendered cutscenes, to run at double speed. So what you would have to do is, well, so you basically have to either like look up the cutscenes somewhere else or play the game some other way. But what I figured out is that there's a way to revert to the regular 30 FPS for those pre-rendered cutscenes. So the way it works now is and I know these are a little confusing, these are just numbers, but the way it works is this code checks and says, is a cutscene running? If so, do this, so set it to 30. Otherwise, if there's no cutscene running, set it back to 60. So that's how that works. And then, yeah, you may want to enable the freeze timers code, which I believe is also available by default, because it tends to cause the timers to run at double speed. Similarly, this one, I didn't make this code, this is someone else. But this code fixes the issues with the widescreen hack not working. So a few years back, they made some changes in Dolphin that basically broke the widescreen hack that used to work perfectly for the game, and so now it just doesn't work. But somebody came up with this code, and so now the widescreen works. So all you really have to do is set up your Dolphin graphics properly. So in the most important thing is in the graphics configuration. You'll want to run Dolphin, and I'll show you here. You'll want to run Dolphin just like this. There we go. So in your main Dolphin graphics configuration, you want to change the aspect ratio to force 16:9. Now, the reason for this is that the game needs to know that it is going to be run in widescreen. So you're basically just forcing it. Hey, we're running in widescreen. And then under enhancements, you'll want to run. You'll want to set the resolution a little higher. So what happens is the game will then render at a higher resolution for you. So typically you can just follow that. So that internal resolution, that's what you're going for. You typically, whatever resolution you plan to run the game at, you can just set it at whatever it tells you to. So, if you run it at 1080p, set it at 3 times native for 1080p. And of course, you can play around with it, set it up however you like. The rest of it isn't too important. The one thing you want to keep in mind, though, for what we're about to do, is you want to grab under advanced. You want to make sure that a particular setting here, specifically right here, this load custom textures setting under utility, you want that checked. Because by default, I don't think it's checked. And that's really important if you want those HD textures that I'm about to show you. You can, and enable graphics mods as well. Yeah, that's also something important to load. Now, with the prefetch custom textures, if you have a really beefy PC with a lot of RAM, then you can enable that. So I have that enabled just because I have a lot of RAM, but it's up to you if you'd like to have that enabled. So, yeah. So, experiment with that. And then next up, this should be, I think the last important thing is the textures. So the big thing you're going to want is to look for Project RE. RE Spider-Man 2. There you go. So this is what you're looking for, is just look for Spider-Man 2 RE or Project RE Spider-Man 2. And you should be able to find it. I believe I contributed a little bit to this. But you'll want the most important thing here is you have to grab I believe it was this one, the beta 2 pre-full release. So I don't think they ever released a final official release, but this should have most of the textures you want, and installing them is relatively easy. So in Dolphin, I believe, I forget if Dolphin gives you an easy way to find. I forget if Dolphin gives you an easy way to find that custom texture folder, but so let's see if there's an easy. Let me see if there's like an easy way to show you where that folder is. But if not, basically you'll just go into. Typically, it's going to be in your documents. There should be a Dolphin emulator folder, and then in there, so whatever your documents folder is, in there you'll find Dolphin emulator. You'll make a folder called load. So I'll just kind of show you example. So let's say you're in your documents and you make a folder called, you have a Dolphin emulator folder, right? So you'll make a folder in here called load. And then inside load, you'll have a folder called textures. And this is where you'll end up dumping everything from Project RE. It should be fairly easy to get set up. It's kind of a big file, so I can't download it right now because it'll take a while. But that should get you roughly to what I have now. Some of the textures I have are actually totally custom, so they were never released anywhere. But for the most part, that should get you everything. And then you can play around with some of this other stuff. I think this unofficial texture pack is probably helpful, since it's just doing some AI textures that were missing from the original for the most part. But yeah, so that should get you more or less an HD working version of Spider-Man 2 on Dolphin emulator. The one thing you'll want to be careful about, though, is you really do need to play this on a PC, or at least like a Steam Deck or something like that. Dolphin does have an Android port, but the Android port is great for some games, but because of how demanding of a title Spider-Man 2 is, mainly because it's open world and all that, it's not a game that's going to run very easily locally. So yeah, my recommendation is to play it on a Windows machine, or at least like a Linux machine, not on a mobile device. And that, I think, is about it for the instructions.